Welcome back, guys. I am so sorry. You gotta forgive my friend. She means well. Yeah, she didn't realize that I was back on, and so she was telling me that the feed fell again. But by her calling me, that's what caused the feed to fall. Because she called me straight. And on data, you're actually using mobile data. So once you're using mobile data, and you can't use your phone to make phone calls because it will mess up your hotspot. You know that, right? If you didn't know that, you learned something today. Yeah, I'm becoming very proficient technically uh, with this system because of all of my trials and tribulation. Yeah. So, where was I? Where was I? Oh, yeah. So I was telling you guys. Okay, so I basically finished the news with regard to what Dr. Tufton said about the persons and the person who was sharing his experience in terms of being discriminated against, right? And I'll give you my 2 cents later on, but I want to get to, I told you, the international news. So I'm going to continue. The Universal Service Fund, USF, has donated $17.5 million to the Health Ministry in order to boost bandwidth of the Health Ministry. The presentation was made by the Honorable Favour Williams to Health Minister Dr. Tufton during the press briefing. Yeah? So they handed over the check for $17.5 million. You know how they do it, right? The USF falls under the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, right? That's Dr. Favour Williams' portfolio, yeah? And it was established in 2005. She says every Jamaican of all walks of life are supposed to have access to the internet. Did you know that they actually had this institution that was set up, guys, in 2005 to ensure that every single Jamaican have internet? What are we in now? We're 2020. Okay, I'll give you my 2 cents. Let me continue reading the news and then I'll give you my 2 cents. All right, so a Portmore seafood restaurant operator is appealing to the government to allow fishermen to continue fishing in order to provide for their families during this COVID-19 pandemic. According to Othniel Edwards, operator of Lobster Belly Seafood Restaurant, fishermen should be given a day to go to sea to fish so that they can sell to the community. The same way shopkeepers are given days to sell. Yeah? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah. So he says, okay, operators and fisher folks already took a hit during the Easter holidays. So the Easter holidays, remember they changed the curfew hours, guys, during the Easter holidays, and so they said they had a big hit during the Easter holidays, right? And he said while he supports the government's effort to limit the spread of the virus, he says the economic realities of individuals must also be given attention. When the fishermen who have them family to feed and we same one and resident at Portmore would buy the fish if we go eat and the Coast Guard are going to stop them from go see and say a lockdown so them can't go see, that is definitely ridiculous. I'm quoting him, right? May hear the Prime Minister implement a thing like him and say farmers can go back to work but we fishermen farm. Is agriculture same way? That's what he told the Gleaner article I'm reading, yeah? He believes that the raft of initiatives rolled out by the Agriculture Ministry to save the livelihoods of thousands of farmers across the island should be extended to their colleagues who make a living from the ocean. He argued that the same way land-based businesses are allowed to open on certain days to replenish their shelves, similar allowances must be made to fishermen to operate and keep the marine food supply going. Because there is no way you can stop the food supply. Fisheries fall under farming the same way, he said. So when you go locked down, you have to allow the fisherman to go see, he said. What are your views on that, guy? Yeah, do you agree, disagree? Yeah. All right, so continuing the news. Like I said, I want to really get through to giving you all that information so I can then I'll give you the international and I give you my 2 cents, right? Mm-hmm. So the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, right? They tweeted on Twitter that they were putting on hold the importation of chicken in the island. So Minister Audley Shaw, the Honorable Audley Shaw, is his portfolio. So he said, we are doing this against the background of COVID-19 and the surplus in the country now. The priority is to consume what is produced locally, right? So this was from the Observer Online. This is from the Observer Online now, right? The Observer Online says one close analyst of the chicken industry said that of the amount of 8 million kilograms, approximately 30 to 35%, or approximately 2.4 million kilograms, are in storage by small farmers. Right? Now, one such farmer is a gentleman by the name of Mark Campbell. He's a Trelawney farmer who has been selling to communities in St. James and Trelawney at below market price in order to reduce supplies. Yeah. So I told you about Mr. Mark Campbell. Let me give you some more context. And this, guys, has been updated. So I'm giving you context, I'm giving you the first part, and I'm going to give you the second part. So he said before, because remember, the Observer had run the story last week about him having over $100 million in inventory. He said, I'm seeing a loss of over $100 million. I supply eggs to the hotels from St. Anne to Westmoreland. And as I am speaking, I have no market to sell my eggs. But this was a couple of days ago when he said this. Yeah. To compound his current problem, Campbell, who has been in the business since 1981, says he has to be disposing of some of his chickens because he no longer has the storage capacity for the eggs that they are producing. I have 38,000 birds who are producing at their peak. My storage capacity is at its maximum. I'm selling what eggs I can sell and give away birds. The rest I have to kill and bury. But he may not have to do that because there's a silver lining. So, Hugh Gentles of Gladstoneberry Purvale, working in conjunction with RADA, RADA, Rural Agricultural Development Authority, also in conjunction with the Farmers Assistance Acquisition Program for, what is this? Forget that word. I'll tell it to you when I figure it out. But that other organization, they have developed a project to take some of the eggs off Mr. Campbell's hands. The program will immediately purchase 200 dozen eggs from Mark. These will be distributed to government-run institutions like the prisons and hospitals, explained Gentles. Campbell says he is quite willing to grab the offer as he sees it as a light in the proverbial tunnel, which will ultimately cushion the current blow and create a platform to rebound. I am most appreciative of Mr. Gentles and the program which has come forward. Some of my main associates, including the Sandals Hotels and Jamaica Broilers, have also told me they will not stand by and watch me go under, he said. And of course, other institutions and other MPs, also including the Honorable Darrell Vaz from Portland, has also come forward and are buying up these eggs, guys. Campbell also believes that the silver lining could be a result of divine intervention based on an experience he had with a woman of faith. He said, I got a call from a lady who heard of my plight and who does not know me nor I her. As she prayed, he said, a most touching prayer. Tears rolled down my cheeks uncontrollably. It was as if I had got news that my mother had just died. Following the prayer, Campbell felt as though a burden had been lifted off him. When he was approached by Gentles and his associates, it was as if he had already known that something good was about to happen. Now, isn't that some good news, guys, in the midst of COVID-19? Yeah, we like to read and listen to stories like those, right? Yeah. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Lots of institutions and members of parliament are coming forward and they're purchasing the eggs and communities, associations. Yeah. Westgate Hills Association, I know, is very active in actually purchasing a lot of eggs from Mr. Campbell. So that's good news. Yeah, for that gentleman. Okay. Continuing, and gas prices are up. Well, not all of it. Some are down. So let me give you the ones that are down first. The ones that are down by $3.06, right, is the E1087. That's down. It will sell for 116.67 per liter. The E1090 is also down, and that will sell for 119.50. The diesel also went down by $3.06 and now is selling for $113.90 per liter, right? And the kerosene oil has gone down and is now $96.38 per liter. However, propane cooking gas, and maybe somebody needs to explain this to me how this works, because the propane cooking gas, the price has gone up, and now it is now going for 38.12 cents, and the butane has also gone up and is now 47.72 cents. I got to study that and find out all that goes, guys, and get back to you on that one. I really need to find out how is that possible. Yeah, the others went down and that one went up, even as oil prices are in the negative right now. I've never seen that before, by the way, in my lifetime. Oil prices in the negative. Have you? Wow. Yeah, guys, lots of stuff happening out there. Yes, so here now we get to the international news. So, Delta Airlines Inc. reported Wednesday that it lost $534 million in the first 3 months of the year when it suffered a glancing blow from the coronavirus pandemic during March. Okay, gonna give more information about that in a little while. Next, St. Lucia is celebrating the full recovery of all 15 of their confirmed cases. I wanted to get to this story, guys. Yeah, I really wanted to get to this story. So listen up. St. Lucia, tiny little island, yeah, they had 15 cases, guys. 15, that's all they had, 15 cases. However, all of their 15 cases have recovered. That, according to their CMO, their chief medical officer, and she said, that is Sharon Belmar George, as of April 22nd, that's yesterday, St. Lucia has a total of 15 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and to date, all of the positive cases of COVID-19 have recovered, with even the remaining 2 cases who were in isolation receiving negative COVID-19 test results and have since been discharged from the hospital. Yeah? This now places St. Lucia at 100% recovery rate of all COVID-19 cases. Among the 15 cases St. Lucia recorded were individuals within the category of high risk by virtue of some being elderly, as well as living with chronic illnesses and comorbidities. And they too recovered well with no complications or needed critical care. Lab tests for COVID-19 continue to be conducted both locally and with the support of the Caribbean Public Health Agency Laboratory, she said. St. Lucia had modified their testing strategy by testing an increased number of samples from community respiratory clinics. This would assist in the assessment of the COVID-19 locally. They continue with their partial shutdown on a 10-hour curfew, which is from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. So they have curfew in St. Lucia from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. Large-scale public health and social measures have been implemented in an effort to break transmission of the virus, the disease, actually. The public must note that many of these measures need to be sustained. That's what the health minister said. Sorry, not the health minister, the chief medical officer. Some of the measures that have been implemented include school closures, national zoning to manage population movement, the closure of non-essential businesses, travel restrictions, the partial national shutdown, and the instituting of a 24-hour curfew, right? The measures also included the wearing of masks, right? Isolation treatment and care of sick persons, and the adoption of hygiene and other infection prevention measures. As seen in many developed countries, she says, even with an apparent decrease in their cases. When measures are relaxed and persons become more socially engaged, this provides an opportunity for smaller epidemic waves, which are characterized by a low level of transmission. So she's advising that persons maintain their... Oh my goodness. I think I've lost my feed again. Oh, it's not gone. It's back. Oh, sorry. Okay, guys. Thank you. It's still here. Thank you. Yeah. So I was saying that I was going to give you some reminders that she has given to her citizens that I think it all goes well for us to hear somebody else outside of the prime minister and the health minister and our own experts here talking about it have another perspective, right? So this is the CMO from St. Lucia speaking. She says, we all need to be reminded that the threat of COVID 19 still exists and will continue to be with us for a while. Some of the national protocols include stay at home as much as possible, stay at home as much as possible, unless it is for food or medical purposes. Avoid mass crowd events and social gatherings. Practice social distancing and good personal hygiene. Do not go to public places with flu like symptoms, including fever, coughing, and sneezing. When visiting the supermarket or a public place, refrain from touching items unless you intend to purchase them. Do not touch the item unless you're going to buy it. We need to adopt behavior patterns moving forward in this new COVID 19 environment. She says, although hardware stores are open in an effort to facilitate household emergencies, that's why it's open, and to increase water storage capacity, the public is reminded that we are still on national scale down. Only leave your house for essential goods. Another recommendation is to use a face mask or a scarf when going to places like the supermarket, right? The face mask or scarf must be used for source control by reducing potential exposure risk from infected persons, right? That's why you do it. This measure will support current efforts to protect the health and safety of our citizens, both in St. Lucia, in Jamaica, and around the world, right? However, for face masks to be effective in reducing infection, they must always be used as recommended. That is, they must be over your nose and over your mouth, not on your forehead or on your neck, guys. Yeah. And she recommends regular hand washing with soap and water or alcohol-based hand sanitizers where soap and water is not available. Cover your mouth and nose with disposable tissues when coughing or sneezing. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing and sneezing. Seek medical attention and share your travel history with your healthcare provider. If you have symptoms suggestive of respiratory illness, saying is basically what you've already heard our health minister and our CMO says, right? Now you heard it from somebody else saying it, right? Very important, guys. I mean, many of you are still not practicing it, and I hope that by listening to this from a different or third party, it might help you to understand the importance of doing this. Okay, all right. No, this is what I want you to hear, guys. I want you to listen to this. Okay, so um, I was gonna play the clip yesterday, but I couldn't play the clip yesterday. So I'm playing it today for you. I want you to take a clean listen to this. These are some countries outside of Jamaica, all undergoing the same thing that we are undergoing. These countries are larger than us with a larger population than what we have. Okay, we only have 2 point something million people, not even 3 million people in Jamaica, and these countries have millions of people in their population. Listen to this, guys.
Professor Michael Baker, when we look at, every single death in this pandemic is a tragedy, but comparing the deaths is very illuminating. Here in the UK, we have 236 deaths per million of our population, 236 per million. Where you are in New Zealand, obviously smaller population, as a smaller country, but only 7 deaths per million of your population.
You heard that, guys? In New Zealand.
What did New Zealand do to get a hold of this so effectively?
Yes, good morning. Well, New Zealand's taken an elimination approach. So basically, we want to stop the virus at the border, stamp it out from the country.
Sorry about the noise, guys.
And we're on track to do that.
And New Zealand obviously has the benefit of being an island, but you did shut down the border pretty quickly. We still have an open border in the UK, for example. How much of an impact do you think not allowing people to fly in, particularly from countries that have bad issues with coronavirus, has been in your ability to contain this?
Well, it's critical. I mean, you have to manage people arriving in the country who may be infected. Technically, we haven't shut the border down. I mean, it's still open to citizens who are returning, but they have to go into 2 weeks of mandatory quarantine.
You hear that, guys?
And in many ways, we're following the same model that Taiwan has run very successfully, and I think they should be really praised for what they've done. They recognized the pandemic very early. In January, they started managing their borders, and they have fewer cases than New Zealand as a result.
When you look at the issues we've had in the UK, are you critical of the way that our government has gone about this, as many people here are?
Well, I think actually the entire Western world has underestimated this virus, and it's been a major policy failing. And really, we should have looked to Asia, I think, earlier, because they contained the pandemic very effectively in China, and we could have applied the same model. I think there was a window of opportunity to do that, because what the Western world has done is treated this like an influenza pandemic, where you can mitigate, but you can't actually contain it. Whereas we should have recognized this earlier as more like a SARS virus, where containment is possible. You can interrupt transmission. And if the Western world had done that, there was an opportunity. I think we could have contained this very effectively and taken an elimination approach to it, as New Zealand is doing, as mainland China is doing, as a number of countries in Asia are doing.
Okay.
That is a much better example.
Well, let's talk to Professor Johan Kiseki from Sweden, because you have taken a very different approach. I mean, some would say a radical approach over in Sweden. And comparing our 236 deaths per million of the population, you have 152 per million, but you have not locked down in Sweden, have you? If we see pictures of Sweden, we will still see plenty of people milling about. Cafes, restaurants, markets still open. Crowds can't be bigger than 50 people. And I know that you advise social distancing. But you're very critical of the UK government for a very different reason. What is that?
The UK started in the right direction, but then a famous paper from Imperial College came out and Boris Johnson made a U-turn, and now I think you're on the wrong track.
You think we're on the wrong track because we went to lockdown?
Yes.
Sweden has had, I mean, it's an interesting case, Sweden, because you haven't really had any form of lockdown. It's hard to assess yet whether that has been successful or not. But how are your figures comparing, for example, in infections and deaths to your immediate Scandinavian neighbours?
They're higher. But one very important thing, I think we should wait a year in comparing deaths in different countries, because the cases that have died in Sweden will be the ones similar to the ones who, when you open your lockdown, you'll have more deaths. And in the end, I think they will be about the same in each country.
So you think the problem with the lockdown is that eventually you have to unlock it?
Yeah, you postpone what's happening. If you did it for a very long time, so there was vaccine available, then you could probably keep the lockdown. But in a democratic Western country, you can't shut people up for 18 months. That's impossible. You can do it in China, but you can't do it in England.
Do you think that you will have, there will be a different economic effect in Sweden as a result of not locking down?
Yeah,
we shouldn't exaggerate this thing with the legal lockdown and the soft lockdown. The result in practice is very similar. Yes, I think that the Swedish economy will come out it will be weakened, but not as weakened as in many other countries.
What I've been told, and you can clarify this, but I've been told that many Swedish people have actually taken it upon themselves to stay at home a lot more, almost having a kind of unofficial self-inflicted lockdown. Is that true?
That's true. The headline of the Swedish policy is "People are not stupid." If you tell them what's good for them and what's good for the rest of the population, they follow your advice because they understand it. You don't need laws. You don't need police in the streets.
So in a sense, it's quite interesting that there's been much more trust given to the people. What's interesting here is, it's understood that the British government delayed any lockdown because they were worried British people wouldn't follow it. As it's turned out, actually, the British people have been extremely obedient. 90% in all the polls say they're happy to do this if it's for public health reasons. In Sweden, it hasn't been an order. It's just been, if you're sensible, we'll get through this.
Yeah.
People are not stupid.
You heard that?
And one thing of the Swedish policy, which is that
People are
we
not
reach
stupid.
herd immunity in Stockholm County, about a month from now or less. Mid-May we'll have herd immunity.
Well, what if you? I mean, can I ask you one thing? Do you accept you could be completely wrong? Do you accept that actually there could be a lot of people in Sweden who are getting infected by not having a more draconian lockdown, and that you might suddenly be in a very bad position? Is that a possibility that you might just be wrong?
Everything is a possibility, but it's highly
unlikely. But time will tell, right, guys? Time will tell. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted you to hear that. Yeah. So, you heard, right? So, in Sweden, no police, no soldier, nobody coming to say to you, wear your mask, practice social distancing, right? You heard? They just do it naturally without being ordered to do it. Yeah? Guys, can we take a leaf out of that book? Right? I really want. When I heard that, I said I had to play that for you guys to hear, because I just could not believe it. That really and truly, in Sweden, no police tell anyone to wear a mask, practice social distancing. The people just not automatically do it. I could say more about that, but I don't want to. Yeah, but I'm just saying to you guys, let's take a leaf out of that book, right? No one should tell you that you have to do these things. When you go out, you put your mask on and it must cover your nose and your mouth, and you practice social distancing, yeah? Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, let me go back now to my local news. Yeah. So I was saying to you guys that where was I? Let's get back there. Yes, discrimination. That's where I want to start from. Okay, so you heard the health minister, and I told you what that nurse, that senior public health nurse said, and you heard what that other victim who was being discriminated against said. Guys, seriously speaking, why do we do these things? Why do we do these things? Are we not learning? Is COVID-19 really not teaching us anything? Why are you discriminating against people? Guys, understand this, okay? Many of you who are pointing fingers, who are burning down houses, who are throwing stones. You remember the parable that Jesus gave about he who was never seen to cast the first stone? You remember the parable? Yeah? These things are real, guys. It's the reason for them, because we know people who are like that. We like to point that finger. And I always hear they say, when you point that finger, look at how many pointing back at you, right? It's the reason you're told, do not judge, right? And never say never. Because the very thing that you're running from and the very thing that you're accusing somebody of is the same thing that you will have to deal with one day. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but one day you are going to deal with it yourselves. And that, in my opinion, is the reason we have things like COVID-19. Because there are some of us among us who believe that we're immune, who believe that we are bigger than COVID-19 or bigger than this or bigger than that. Yeah, there are many of us, we're full of pride, we're pompous and we're arrogant, and we just have to, as they say, be cut down to size. Yeah? And what better way for it to happen than with COVID-19? So whether it was genetically engineered or it was natural or otherwise, or it was caused by 5G or whatever, it does not matter. The reality is that COVID-19 is no respecter of persons, and anyone can have it. And the very same person who is discriminating against somebody else and ostracizing persons, you'll be surprised to find that somebody near and dear to you end up with it. And then I see you crying. Let me tell you something. I'm on Twitter, and I see remarks made by persons on Twitter that are derogatory of other persons and other group of persons, other cohorts. And I have lived to see some of these same persons coming on Twitter and crying and bawling and asking for prayer because their loved ones have come down with COVID-19. Yeah? Because it's no respecter of persons. It can happen to anyone at anywhere, at any time. So stop it, man. Don't do that. Guys, we have to be our brother's keepers. How many times have you heard me say this? We gotta stop treating each other like this. We gotta be we gotta be kind and loving, compassionate. Let us do that. Let us stop discriminating against these people, guys. It's not a good thing to do, and I'm telling you for your own good. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Believe me, as I am talking to you this afternoon on the 23rd day of April, that very thing that you're doing is going to come back and bite you in the butt. I promise you. Take my word for it. It's going to happen to you if you don't stop. Yeah? Uh-huh. Because that is exactly, some people call it karma, right? But the Lord God Almighty is a just God. He is a just God. Yeah. He's not a judge like some judges in some countries. Yeah? Or like the unjust judge. He is a just judge and a just God. And every single person must reap what they sow. And I was always taught you can't sow corn and reap peas. Does not work. You sow corn, you reap corn. You sow peas, you reap peas. So if you continue to sow what you're sowing, I promise you, you're going to reap. And when you reap it, don't say, oh, them hobby me. Or is Deliverance, or is some other spiritualist thing happening to you. It is just you simply reaping what you have sown. Okay? So if you don't want to reap, I am begging you to quit, desist, stop it. Don't do it. Huh? Plant good seeds. You plant good seeds, you'll have a good harvest. I promise you. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but the harvest will come. Yeah, it will. You understand? You will have long life and you'll have a healthy life. If you even don't have a lot to eat, you'll be healthy. Because you can't buy health, guys. Money can't buy health. You see people with their money and they would love to be healthy and they don't have any because all the money that they have cannot buy health. Money don't buy health, guys. Yeah. And it doesn't. And when death comes, you can't pay death and say, "Go away. I'm not coming with you." When death comes, you have to go and you leave all that money behind. So I'm imploring you guys, okay? Stop it. It's not nice. Don't do it. And also, I'm on the subject of money. All you guys out there with all these billions and trillions in your bank account, to do what with them? It makes no sense because you can't spend it off in your lifetime. You will never spend it off in your lifetime. So what is it doing in that bank account? Let me tell you something. You see, when they implement, guys, it's not if you know, guys, or when. You see, when they implement 5G, and you see when they go into cryptocurrency and make the societies digital, let me tell you something. How computer works. Yeah? That money will be in the account today and it has 10 digits, 10 zeros after that, one digit. And then tomorrow, when they go, it's 0 digit. Yeah. With one touch of a button, oops, it's all gone. It's digital. Yeah. And when it's digital, and whatever you see on that system, that's what you have. So unless you physically have that money somewhere, anything digital is here today, gone tomorrow. All it takes is one virus. One virus is all it takes, yeah? And that $10 billion become $0 or $1 or $10. Yeah? Okay. So let me tell you, if I were you, I would start finding some persons now and give the money away, right, to persons, feed the hungry, clothe them, you know, to build orphanages, build not hotels, hospitals and clinics, right? And especially schools, okay? Schools. I know we're trying to be online, but I promise you that's not going to happen. Everybody will not be online because you see what I go through with Flow just to do a simple little 1 hour program. I can't even do that with 4G with Flow on my data plan. Not even that, right? So I don't know how you're gonna find, please. Because I find, guys, the minute I hope my mouth and I call them names, the signal starts to drop. Flo, leave me alone. So I promised you guys that I was going to give you some information. I was watching yesterday the program, the press briefing, right, with the minister, the CMO, right, and other persons, and the public health nurse, right? Oh my gosh, she was so wonderful. She was so wonderful. And she gave something that I want to share with you. She was explaining basically how the contact tracing works, guys. So I'm going to share with you how contact tracing works, because I didn't even know. I had an idea, but of course, that's not my field. So I really didn't know exactly how it worked. So she explained exactly how contact tracing works. So here it is. I'm sharing with you now, guys. So she says basically, first of all, so you have the index case. That's what I call it. The index case, that is that person who is confirmed. So let me use the example that you already know of. So that first person at the Ministry of Health who came down with the coronavirus disease, right? The COVID-19, that one person. That person is the index person, right? So that index person who came down with the coronavirus disease, what they then do is they get all the names of the persons that he or she, I think it was a he or she, came in contact with for the previous 14 days. So, guys, effective immediately, if you've not already done so, for every 14 days, make sure to keep track of every single person who you've come in contact with, yeah, wherever you go. So all of you who are out there, I'm indoors, but some of you are outdoors. So I'm talking for those who are outdoors. For 14 days, you've got to keep track of every single person with whom you come in contact, yeah. And so that's what they do. So they ask for the names and they ask for the phone numbers of these persons, right? And the addresses, of course, for these persons. And then they go to these homes, the addresses that they were given by this index person, they go there and they do the same thing with those persons that they did with them. So let's say, for example, that I came in contact, let's say I was on the road, right? And I came in contact with 20 persons and I give them the name of 20 persons. Those 20 persons, they now go to those 20 persons and they do the same thing. That's what they call a double back. And they ask them the same questions. Where did you go? Who did you meet? What are the, what's their names? What's their address? Where do they live? Things like that. What's their phone number? And they do that for every person. Yeah. And then what they do, guys, they have a logbook. They give the person a logbook, a thermometer, again, a thermometer, and a quarantine order. So this person, they have to take their temperature, right? And they have to log it in the logbook. Yeah. And they say, and what she said, what she was saying, she said, this is what they do, guys, when they're doing their contact tracing, right? If the person has a fever, right? So they check upon these persons and they go through the logbook and the quarantine order, right? And when they look and they see that this person has a temperature, they have a fever, the temperature has risen, right? You know, a fever, guys, right? When there's a fever, it means that there's an infection. A fever, there's the presence of infection. That's why you have a fever, right? As opposed to hypothermia, where there's no presence of infection. So if there's a fever, there's a presence of infection. So when they see that now happening, then they report it to the health department, right? And the quarantine center. And then they tell them to pack a bag, right? They come for them, guys. They go and pick them up. And they pick up into an unmarked vehicle. They don't go in a regular Ministry of Health vehicle. They go and they pick them up in an unmarked vehicle. Yeah, that's how they go about to basically do their contact tracing. Yeah, and I also wanted to share this with you also because our epidemiologist, right, Dr. Webster Carr, she was also explaining the different stages. You know, they're talking about now being community transmission, community transmission stage that we're in, right? So I wanted to share with you how they came up with that also. So you know how they say, all right, so in the first stage, we were in the first stage in March When other countries were in other stages, we were at stage 1 because we had no case on March 1st, right? Then on March 10th, we had our first case. Remember that, right? Okay, so we moved from stage 1 to stage 2 because in stage 2 is when you have your sporadic cases, yeah? And then you have case 3, and then in stage 3 is when you have basically clusters, like call them clusters of cases. So for example, with regard to the Alorica, the call center, we were having clusters of, that's a cluster. They talk about a workplace cluster. That's what that means, a workplace cluster. So we're having clusters of cases. So then we were in stage 3. But now, guys, we have 17 cases that are not linkable. So so stage 4, they say stage 4 is when you now have community transmission. That means, what that means is that there are cases that are not linkable, right? Or it's multiple unrelated cases or multiple unrelated cases. When you have that, that is when now they classify that as stage 4, which is community transmission. So now we have 17 cases, guys, that are not linkable. And so that's why, because that is now classified as a multiple unrelated cases, right? And so that's why we are now in the community transmission stage. And being in the community transmission stage, guys, means that there are going to be some changes, right? The rules and regulations are going to change again, and you're going to be hearing more of that. And as you hear more of that, I will be sharing the information with you as I get it, right? Because the Prime Minister, Minister of Health, and all other persons, other stakeholders are going to be talking about where we go from here as we enter into this stage of community transmission. Because as the nurse, the public health nurse pointed out, and the epidemiologist also said the same thing, is that as the example was shown, that one person who came in contact with 20 persons, those 20 persons each, let's say they came into contact with 20 persons also. So you see our numbers jump, guys? Before you know it, there are thousands of persons who could be infected. Yeah. So that's what happens, and that is why it's important. Remember, as I told you guys before, okay, the virus does not walk, it does not fly, okay, it is transmitted. We have to have a direct or indirect transmission, and I told you, okay, if you use your unsanitized hands to hold a doorknob, for example, you did not wash your hands, right? That's an indirect transmission. Then you use your hand and you do like this, like I like to do like this, yeah? Because my nose tickles because of the mucous membrane that is filtering the air, yeah? And so those foreign particles, yeah, exactly. If I did not wash my hands, then now the portal of entry, now the virus has entered my body. That's how it works. And that's why you're told to wear a mask. Yeah, and you put the mask on. I made a mask. Oh, where did I put my mask? Okay, I'll show you one day. Yeah, so, and you put the mask on and you cover your nose and your mouth, because these are portal of entry and portal of exit. If you already have the virus, this is a portal of exit. The virus has to come through your nose or your mouth to get to the other person. Yeah? So you wear the mask for that not to happen. And if you don't already have it, you wear the mask to prevent this being a portal of entry for the virus to enter your body. Yeah. We break the chain, right? Once the link of the chain is broken, it's of no more use. Yeah. Same thing. You kill those viruses, right? Once you break the chain. Okay? So practice washing your hands after you sneeze or cough. Yeah. After doing anything, holding anything, wash your hands. Right? Wear your mask. Yeah. Clean up your surfaces. Right? Keep them germ free. Yeah. You touch anything, you touch a refrigerator with your hands, you wash, you wipe it down, sanitize it with sanitizer. Wash your hands with soap and water. So, guys, soap and water is good enough. You don't have to be running down trying to find sanitizers. Soap and water does the job just fine. Okay, don't kill yourself over trying to get these expensive things. If you can't afford to get a hand sanitizer, soap and water does the job just fine. All right. Okay. All right, guys. I know I had interruptions again today, and oh my God, I am so sorry. But I am so thankful that my audience, you guys are full of patience. Yes, and those who don't have any, you're learning to develop patience. It is teaching your patience, man. Because we have to, guess what? Let me tell you something about God, guys. He will allow things to happen to us, you know. You're talking about the fruit of the Spirit. Patience being one of them. Any fruit that you're lacking, any fruit, in order for you to get that fruit, you're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations in that area to build up that fruit. So if patience is what you're lacking, you're going to go through some things to build up your patience. So try to ensure that you build up your patience, that you don't have to go through the tribulation and trials that's going to give you and teach you patience. Long suffering. That's another one. Goodness, meekness, kindness, gentleness, guys. That's what isn't. Don't you see that's what COVID-19 is doing right now? We're going through some tough times with COVID-19 because we need to build up these fruits, guys. Yeah. So let us do that. The sooner you do it, the sooner we can say bye-bye to COVID-19. I promise you. Remember my challenge yesterday? Please take me up on that challenge. Yeah. Let's do all the good we can to all the people we can in any way we can for as long as we can. Yeah, I kind of remember it's more to it than that, but I was also raised in Methodist. I went to Methodist school, primary school Methodist, high school Methodist, so I have some Methodism in me. Yeah, but there's one God. hmm One Lord God Almighty. Amen. So, yeah, every once in a while my Methodism comes out. Don't mind me. All right, my darlings. I thank you for spending time with me today. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for my subscriptions. Thank you for my thumbs up. Thank you for sharing the link with your friends and family. Remember, I'm just here to share knowledge with you guys, okay? Because knowledge means nothing if I keep it to myself, right? Knowledge must be shared, it must be applied, okay? And so I thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing and spending time with me and for sharing my link. And remember, I'm also on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And so you can also like, share, and comment there too, in addition to right here on YouTube. Okay, right? Okay, so we have come to the end of this program today. I really hope you enjoyed it despite the interruptions. Yeah, one of these days, guys, we are going to look back at these episodes and we are going to laugh. We're going to have a good time with them and say, oh my God, look at where we're coming from. All right? Yes, so I am happy though, and I'm thankful. And thank you, Flo. Despite the fact that you caused my feet to drop so many times, I thank you. I could have not had any at all, right, guys? We got to be grateful. That's what I'm telling you. Forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow, God willing. Okay, at 12:30 p.m. I will see you again tomorrow, God willing, at 12:30 p.m. All right. And so, as always, until then, stay blessed and be a blessing. Love you. Bye.